Welcome back to Hannity. Joining us now with more reaction to last night's GOP debate, columnist Mark Steyn. By the way, has a new musical album. I can't believe I'm saying this again. Feline Groovy, songs for swinging cats. Do you sing on this?
Oh, yeah, you'll love it. If you don't buy my cat album, the terrorists will have won, Sean.
I'm going to buy it just because you're a friend and I want to support the cause. All right, so let's start. We just had Jeb Bush on. Big exchange between him and Trump. How do you feel it came out?
Yeah, I think if he'd have done this in the first debate, it would have been effective. I think in that sense, it was left too late, and he should have tried it, 6 months ago. The problem now is that Jeb Bush has burned through an awful lot of that $100 million war chest. And it's hard to argue with Trump's point that he's at 41 and Jeb is at 3% in the polls. I mean, basically, Jeb Bush is Jim Gilmore with $100 million, and that's what Trump has done to him. So he left it too late to push back, I think.
And I also look at Donald Trump this way. Being so far ahead and for so long, so consistently, to me, I think he looks at these debates as no harm, no foul. As long as he doesn't make a big mistake, he's perfectly comfortable. He can get all the media attention he wants any other time he wants. He seems comfortable getting a few lines in and letting everyone else go at it, and it seems to work.
Yeah, because he doesn't need the debate. If you're a strong candidate, you don't need these debates. If you're a weak candidate, as 6.5 of the guys on that stage were, then you do need a strong performance. But that said, I thought Trump had one very good moment when he pushed back and he said, so they're allowed to kill us, but we're not allowed to kill them. And the audience began to sort of boo him. And he took on the audience. He actually said, really? And he turned to them and he looked at them and he put down the audience, which at these Republican events is mainly full of, assistant deputy county chairmen of various Republican Party branch offices. I thought that was a powerful moment, and it wouldn't likely happen. I can't imagine any of the other candidates doing that, which again goes to the uniqueness of Donald Trump, right? Absolutely, and I think we shouldn't forget that the conversation that they were having last night is a conversation that wouldn't be taking place without Trump. Until Donald Trump came along, immigration in campaigns has been generally talked about from the point of view of the illegal immigrants. So we're talking about, oh well, these are hard-working people, and if they haven't committed any crimes, well, certainly no more than 3 or 4 misdemeanors and maybe a couple of felonies, then we should have a pathway to citizenship. And we'd be arguing, it would be Rubio calling for a pathway to citizenship over 18 months and Bush arguing for a pathway to citizenship in 6 months. And that's where the conversation would be had Trump not come along. And for the first time, immigration is being discussed in terms of what it offers to the people who are already here. And that's a change Trump made. I did think that conservatism won on that stage last night because all of those candidates are selling themselves as a conservative. Now, the exchange, Ted Cruz now is moved up solidly now into second place. There were a couple of exchanges he had with Marco Rubio, but I thought one great moment for Cruz was when he said, when they kept pushing him, you mean you're going to carpet bomb a city and make the sand glow and kill the babies and the children? And he said, no, I'm going to carpet bomb ISIS. And if you join them, it's your death warrant. I thought that was a good line. How do you think that went, and the exchanges with Rubio over metadata, surveillance, and immigration went? Well, I think Cruz has it slightly easier here because I think, Cruz's weakness supposedly is on these national security, on the big security state. Rubio's weakness is on immigration. But the party has a genuine difference of opinion on the security versus liberty issue and where at what is the sweet spot on that continuum. So in a sense, Cruz, there's a constituency for Cruz. Rubio's Trudeau's weakness, the immigration and the amnesty, is far more disqualifying. But I would say this, I think Cruz had a good night last night, apart from anything else, is just because Ben Carson needed to perform well, and he didn't. He performed, I thought, rather eccentrically, starting from that sort of minute of silence he introduced in the middle of his opening statement. And I think from that point of view, Carson will not arrest his decline, and the main beneficiary of his decline in Iowa has been Ted Cruz. So I thought in that sense, Carson helped Cruz last night.
Does Marco, he cannot seem to escape his support for the comprehensive immigration bill. Do you see any way that he can overcome that with the conservative base?
Yes, I think he certainly could, but he's not there yet. I mean, for example, he was talking last night about how he doesn't want to let any Syrian refugees in because 9,999 of them might be fine, upstanding fellows. But if the 10,000th is building a pipe bomb in his garage, that's a risk we can't afford to take. And that sounds tough. But it's not where the base is. The base has got kind of far more basic problems with mass immigration at a time when the American middle class is shrinking and social mobility is basically declining. And so he's not, the terrorism thing is not going to get him off the immigration hook. He's got to go beyond that.
All right, let's talk about this battle between the establishment and the more conservative wing of the Republican Party. Because, look, the insurgency is real. It's the outsider insurgency year. Conventional wisdom from the establishment is, oh, you got to get somebody who's electable, like Bob Dole or John McCain, establishment candidates. And they tell conservatives in those moments they've got to suck it up and they've got to be team players. Now it appears that the establishment will try to undermine any insurgency candidate, be it Donald Trump or Ted Cruz, or if it was Ben Carson. So my question is, you know, what do you foresee when one of these insurgents actually wins? What happens?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, it could look very difficult for the establishment by about midnight on the night of the New Hampshire primary, because your top two candidates, who may have a victory apiece under their belts by then, will be Trump and Cruz. And at that point, the Republican Party establishment will have lost control of the party. And I think there's no doubt, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that even if they were capable of coming up with an attack ad that could destroy either of these candidates,
they would.
The idea that these people would then willingly migrate to whatever establishment figure is put up in their place, I don't think that's going to happen. I think with Trump supporters, a significant proportion of them would just sit on their hands if he were to be taken out in some way. So the establishment has lost control of this thing.
Well said. Mark Steyn, good to see you. Congratulations on the new CD. I'll be getting a copy, I promise, under my Christmas tree.